Hello, good morning, students. Welcome to our online session on chapter 2 of our SYBSc semester 4. We are learning the topics from chemical thermodynamics. So, chemical thermodynamics we have discussed already, and it includes the free energy. We have already learned that what is free energy. Free energy is the energy available to do work. So, in this chapter, we will learn two types of free energy, Helmholtz free energy and Gibbs free energy. So, Helmholtz free energy, we have derived the equation for Helmholtz free energy by considering the two facts that internal energy of a system consists two parts. First part is energy available to do work, and second part is energy unavailable to do work. So, we have the equation for internal energy, that the A is energy available to do work and ST is the energy unavailable to do work. So, if we take out the value of A, you will get the equation E minus ST. So, this is the equation for Helmholtz free energy according to the definition. If we want to calculate the change in Helmholtz free energy, so you have to calculate Helmholtz free energy in final state and Helmholtz free energy in initial state. So, Helmholtz free energy in final state can be written as E2 minus S2 T2. See, this term is came from E minus ST. Now, the value of A1 will be E1 minus S1 T1. Okay, so same term will be take out in one bracket and other same term will be written in another bracket. Okay, so E2 minus E1 can be written as delta E, and S2 T2 minus S1 T1 will be written as T1 is equal to T2 is equal to T. So see, T2 and T1 can be written as only T because it is equal to T. So see, this T will be taken out as a common. Okay, and you will write it S2 minus S1. So this S2 minus S1 can be written as delta S. So therefore, this equation can be write as delta A is equal to delta E minus T delta S. So this is the equation for change in Helmholtz free energy. Now we have already discussed about the physical significance of change in Helmholtz free energy. We know that change in entropy can be written as Q reversible upon T. So this Q reversible is a small amount of heat energy required in reversible process. So when we rearrange this equation, means T when go to in the multiplication of delta S, you will get T delta S is equal to Q reversible. And we know what is Q reversible. According to first law of thermodynamics, Q reversible is delta E plus Wm. Wm is a maximum work done. So, we know the equation for delta A is equal to delta E minus T delta S. So, here T delta S is equal to Q reversible. So, we can write Q reversible at the place of this T delta S. And we know the value of Q reversible, that is delta E plus W max. So, delta A is equal to delta E minus, we can put this equation into this equation. So, at the place of Q reversible, you have to write delta E plus W max. So, at the place of Q reversible, we have written delta E plus W max. When we open the bracket, this delta A will get cancelled, and you will get delta A is equal to only minus Wm. So therefore delta A is equal to minus Wm, and minus delta A is equal to Wm. So see, this negative sign indicates that Helmholtz free energy decreases at the cost of maximum work is obtained. See, this negative sign indicates that Helmholtz free energy decreases at the cost of maximum work, because this is a maximum work. Okay, so this is the physical significance of Helmholtz free energy. Now the same conclusion is written in this statement also. Decrease in Helmholtz free energy is a measure of maximum work obtained in isothermal reversible process. Hence it is known as maximum work function of the system. Maximum work function of the system. Helmholtz free energy is also called as maximum work function of the system. Now next derivation is variation of Helmholtz free energy with temperature and volume. See, Helmholtz free energy can be changed with temperature and volume. So we have to show this by equation. So we know what is the equation for Helmholtz free energy. Helmholtz free energy is A, and A is equal to E minus St. So according to definition, Helmholtz free energy equation is A is equal to E minus St. So if we differentiate this equation, means if we take out derivative of this equation, so you will get derivative of A can be written as dA, derivative of E can be written as dE, derivative of S multiplied by T can be written as S dt minus TdS. See, derivative of U into V can be written as U dV plus V du. Okay, this is the derivative differentiation equation of the term which is in multiplication. So here S into T is in multiplication, so that's why if we apply this derivative, this differentiation term to S into T, so it will be written as S into dt. Same way U into dV. Consider it in bracket and plus sign, and then T will be constant and d of S, like that. V when V constant and du will be differentiate. So when we open this bracket, this plus sign will become minus sign, because there is a minus sign in outside of the bracket. Okay, see, so the equation for this equation is dA is equal to dE minus S dt minus TdS. So by definition of entropy, ds is equal to dq upon t, dq upon t. So when ds is multiplied by this t, so you will get TdS and is equal to dq. That is, we have rearranged this equation. So TdS is equal to dq. Okay, see, this TdS will be equal to this dq. So we can write dq at the place of this TdS, while the remaining equation will be written as same. So dA is equal to dE minus S dt minus dq. Now according to the first law of thermodynamics, first law of thermodynamics is dq is equal to dE plus pdV. This pdV is nothing but it is the W max. Okay. So dq is equal to dE plus pdV, because we know according to first law of thermodynamics q is equal to E plus W, means the total amount of heat energy will be used to increase internal energy, while remaining amount of energy will be useful for doing work done. So this internal energy can be written as dE, and this W is written as pdV. pdV is a pressure volume type of work. So remember this equation, dE plus pdV. So we can write this term at the place of this dq, at the place of this dq. So when we put this term at the place of this dq, you will get a new equation. See, you will get this equation like this. At the place of dq we have written dE plus pdV. By opening the bracket, the plus sign is converted into this minus sign. Okay, now this plus dE minus dE will cancel out, and you will get dA is equal to minus SDT minus pdV. Only this term is remained, minus SDT minus pdV. Okay, so this is the equation, dA is equal to minus SDT minus pdV. For pure substance, Helmholtz free energy A is a function of two independent variables, that is volume V and temperature T. See here, this Helmholtz free energy, that is A. When we write D and with A, it means that it is a change in Helmholtz free energy. So change in Helmholtz free energy is changes with temperature and volume. dt and dV is a change in temperature and change in volume. So Helmholtz free energy change with temperature and volume. So therefore it is said here that Helmholtz free energy is a function of two variables, that is volume V and temperature T. So mathematically it is written as A is equal to F of V into T. F means function of V and T. So if we apply complete derivation to this equation, you will get dA is equal to deba A upon deba V. Deba is a partial derivation. Okay. dA upon dV at constant temperature with respect to dV plus dA upon dt with respect at constant volume with respect to dt. So this bracket will be equal to minus P, and this bracket will be equal to minus S. Why? If we compare these two equations, so dV will be equal to this dV, and this P will be equal to dA upon dV. So see, dA upon dV is equal to minus P, and see this dt will be equal to this dt, and this minus S will be equivalent to dA upon dt. So that's why it is written here dA upon dt at constant volume is equal to minus S. So we have to prove this equation. So how we can prove it? See, we know dA is equal to minus SDT minus pdV. We know this equation, we have already derived it. dA is equal to minus SDT minus pdV. So when the temperature is constant, so dt is equal to 0, means there is no change in temperature, because temperature is constant. So that's why dt is equal to 0. So if dt is equal to 0, you can write as dt is equal to 0, means this term will become totally 0, and therefore dA will be equal to only minus pdV. Okay, so you will get dA is equal to minus PdV. So if we rearrange this equation, means if we write dV at the bottom of dV, if we take this term in this side, so you have to write dA upon dV at constant temperature, because your condition is constant temperature. So constant temperature will be written at the bottom of bracket, and it is equal to minus P. Okay, when we rearrange this equation, means if we put dV in the at the side of dA, so you have to write dA upon dV at constant temperature is equal to minus P. At constant volume, see, if the volume is constant, so dV is equal to 0, and therefore we can write P dV is also equal to 0. Therefore dA is equal to minus S dt. Okay, because P dV is equal to 0, so that's why this P dV will become 0, and you will get dA is equal to minus S dt, like this, dA is equal to minus S dt. So if we rearrange this equation, means if we write dA upon dt at constant volume, here condition is constant volume, so you will get minus S here. Okay, so see, dA upon dV at constant temperature is equal to minus P, and dA upon dt at constant volume is equal to minus S. So this is the very important terms, and you have to show that these terms in question paper, which will have weightage of 2 marks. So this is the equation which shows that Hemolytic free energy is a function of temperature and volume. I hope you have understood this equation very well. Just practice at your home for writing this derivation in book. So take care. In next session we will take next derivation.